Imagine you are dragged through the streets of Rome, your hands bound with rough rope, the crowd jeering and spitting. You are forced into a wooden crate with no room to stand. The lid slams shut, darkness swallows. You hear a hiss, a snake, a whip of feathers, a chicken scratching against your leg, a dog snarling beside you. You realize you are not alone. You are sealed inside with animals hungry and furious. You will not be buried, you will not be burned, you will be eaten alive in silence beneath the earth. Would you survive even a minute? Welcome to the world of ancient Rome, a civilization of emperors, gladiators, and mighty legions. But behind the grandeur, there lurked punishments so terrifying that even hardened soldiers trembled at their mention. Rome was built on law and order, but its justice was soaked in blood. Punishment was not just about guilt, it was about fear, it was about control. And in a city of millions, the state needed to make examples. Picture a marketplace buzzing with traders selling figs and olives. Children run between stalls shouting for sweets. Then the sound changes, a metallic clang echoes through the square. Chains. The crowd shifts. Guards march forward, dragging a man through the dust. His face is pale, his eyes dart wildly. Everyone knows what comes next. The punishment will not be hidden behind walls. It will be performed for all to see. You hear the creak of iron chains grinding against his wrists. The smell of sweat mixed with burning pitch fills the air. The sun burns against the marble temples, casting long shadows over the execution ground. People press forward, the heat of bodies merges with the sharp scent of fear. But what was this man guilty of? Theft, perhaps? Treason? Or something darker? The Romans believed punishment must match the crime. And sometimes they created methods so twisted that the crime itself became forgotten in the shadow of the penalty. From the eyes of the condemned, the crowd is a blur. He sees not faces, but mouths hungry for spectacle. From the eyes of the executioner, it is routine. His hands are calloused, his heart numb. He has heard every scream before. From the eyes of the crowd, it is theater, a grim form of entertainment, a reminder that Rome rules absolutely. But there were punishments, not yet revealed punishments whispered about in taverns, punishments that seemed born not from human law but from nightmares. Take the crime of parricide, the killing of one's own father or mother. Rome considered it the blackest sin. To kill your parent was to wound the gods themselves. And for this, the Romans created a punishment so surreal it feels like myth, yet it was terrifyingly real. The condemned was sewn into a leather sack alongside a dog, a snake, a monkey, and a rooster. Then the sack was thrown into a river. Imagine the panic of the animals trapped in darkness. Imagine claws, beaks, and fangs tearing at your flesh, while you drown, unable to escape. This was not death by execution, it was chaos unleashed by nature itself. Some say the animals were chosen as symbols: the dog for loyalty, betrayed the snake for treachery, the rooster for watchfulness, ignored the monkey for mockery of human bonds. Others believe it was simple cruelty, designed to break both body and soul. But no scroll explains fully, no scholar can tell us why Rome believed such horror was justice. Think of the condemned man, a son who murdered his father, perhaps in rage or greed, perhaps not guilty at all, but accused by rivals. He sits bound. As the leather sack tightens, he hears the hiss of the serpent. He feels the monkey claw at his leg. He screams not just from fear of death, but from the realization that his final moments will be shared with madness itself. And above him, the crowd cheers as the sack splashes into the river Tiber, carrying away another secret into its depths. Now shift the scene. Just beyond the river, children play with wooden toys. A baker sells honey cakes, a mother scolds her child for stealing figs. Life continues bright and ordinary. While a few steps away, a man is shredded by beasts in a sack beneath the waves. Such was Rome, beauty and brutality breathing side by side. But parricide was only one horror. Others were designed to tear the body apart in ways unimaginable. For traitors, crucifixion awaited the most infamous punishment of all, yet what you may not know is how long and agonizing it truly was. Nails driven through wrists, not hands, the hammer echoing across stone. The iron biting through flesh, while nerves screamed with fire. The body left hanging not to bleed out quickly, but to suffocate slowly as the chest strained for air. Buzzing flies swarmed around the wounds, the smell of blood and sweat mixing under the brutal sun. And all the while, the condemned hung naked, stripped of dignity, before friends, enemies, and strangers alike. But was crucifixion the worst? Rome had darker secrets still. Methods so cruel that even gladiators in the Colosseum begged for death rather than face them. From the view of a Roman senator, punishment was order and spectacle, proof that Rome was strong. From the view of a soldier who nailed prisoners to crosses, it was duty and act to be carried out without hesitation. From the view of a mother watching her son nailed in silence, it was the end of her world and the collapse of all hope. But whispers spoke of another punishment so feared. It was rarely used, the punishment of being torn apart by wild beasts, not in the Colosseum as entertainment, but in the grim quiet of an execution ground. Imagine iron gates creaking open, a man naked and chained pushed into the sand. He sees the arena, though empty of cheering crowds, only guards and magistrates watch from the shadows. Then from the darkness, a lion emerges, its mane glowing in torchlight. The smell of raw meat fills the air, thrown to stir its hunger. The man tries to run, but chains drag him down. The beast leaps, the sound of bones snapping echoes in silence. It was called damnatio, ad bestias, condemnation to the beasts, a punishment not just to kill, but to a race utterly devoured by claws and teeth. Some records claim Christians were executed this way, as a warning to their followers. Others insist it was reserved for the worst criminals of all. But we cannot be certain. History leaves gaps, and Rome cloaked its cruelest acts in secrecy. Think of the condemned slave who had stolen food for his family. He is thrown to the beasts. He sees not justice, but despair. He begs the gods to take his children far from Rome. His scream cuts across the sand, but no voice answers. Outside the gates, the city sings festivals. Wine, music, and laughter fill the streets. Inside the gates, a man is torn apart by lions in silence. Two worlds in one city, neither aware of the other. Yet even these punishments were sometimes seen as too merciful, too quick, too clean. For the most hated of enemies, Rome reserved a punishment beyond cruelty. It was designed not only to kill, but to erase identity itself. In the deepest records lies mention of a punishment where molten lead or bronze was poured down the throat of the condemned. Imagine being held down, your mouth forced open, as glowing liquid fire sears down into your chest. Your scream becomes a hiss, your insides boil, the smell of burning flesh fills the chamber. This was not spectacle for the crowd, it was a hidden ritual, a warning, whispered to those who dared betray the empire. To burn from within was to vanish without a trace, consumed by fire itself. What does this tell us of Rome, a civilization that built aqueducts, temples, and roads still standing today? Yet it fed fear with punishments more twisted than nightmares. To walk those marble streets was to know that death could be glorious in battle or monstrous in chains. The question lingers, was this justice, or was it cruelty dressed in law? Rome survives in our history books, but its punishments remind us that power without mercy becomes terror. And if you think Rome was cruel, wait until you hear what medieval Europe did to traitors, a punishment so gruesome that even Rome would have shuddered. The empire has fallen, but its shadows remain. Every stone of the Colosseum, every whisper of the Tiber remembers those screams. Though the crowd is gone, the silence still speaks. If this story gripped you, share it so others may hear the forgotten truths of history. Leave a comment with which punishment shocked you most, and do not forget to like and subscribe, because we have far darker stories waiting just beyond the gates.